Tonight, Governor Rick Scott filed a lawsuit against Palm Beach and Broward counties for lack of access to public records regarding voting numbers. This comes as a recount now looms over his race for the U.S. Senate. Joining us now, the man himself, Governor Rick Scott. Governor, I'm looking at these numbers. On Election Day, you were up 57,000 votes. What is the number now?
Now it's down to 15,000 votes. So it's clear. We got some left-wing activists. We've got some Democrat D.C. lawyers. They're down here for one purpose, to steal this election. Somehow,
Governor,
the Broward County supervisor.
I looked at the numbers. You were told 5 different numbers. Florida law says that all absentee early voting numbers must be reported within 30 minutes of the polls closing, correct?
Absolutely.
And those numbers
Sean, they found 78,000 votes. Sean, they've found 78,000 new votes since Election Day 2 days ago in Broward County, and 15,000 more votes in Palm Beach. We don't know how many more votes they're going to come up with, but it sure appears they're going to keep finding as many votes as it takes to try to win this election.
Right.
So I've asked the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to immediately do an investigation. We filed lawsuits. We're going to fight this, and we're going to win.
Well, she, in 2016, her office posted results a half hour before the polls closed. That's an election violation law, but broken. She was sued for leaving amendments off the ballots. She also, in the case of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, why is this person even working there?
Well, what I've done is I've asked for an investigation, but we have examples. The Palm Beach supervisor won't allow normal party officials that are supposed to be reviewing ballots. They're not allowing them to do it properly. That's a violation of the law. They're supposed to report all these results. They're not. But how did they come up with 78,000 more votes? Just in Broward and 15 in Palm Beach. No other county is having these problems. We had a horrible hurricane in the Panhandle. It didn't happen there. The lawyers that come down said they're here to win the election, not here to say, oh, I want to find out what the results are and make sure there's fair results. They're down here for one purpose, and they've said that, to win the election. 27
days ago, the Panhandle was smashed with one of the worst hurricanes we've seen. They got their votes in on time. They ended up doing this. To me, this is the single biggest abuse of power in an election I've seen. And they have Mark Elias, the guy at the heart of the whole Perkins Coie, Fusion GPS, Clinton bought and paid for dossier leading the way.
Yep. I mean, they're down here. He's down here for one purpose, steal this election. And he said he's down here just to win this election. He doesn't care about anything else.
He's down there to win it.
So we won. Yeah, we won. I'm going to be the U.S. Senator. I'm going to fight this all the way. We're going to do everything we can. We're looking at every legal remedy we can exercise. We're going to fight this, and we're going to win this. This is wrong what they're doing. And every other
county except Broward and Palm Beach did it the right way. Every other counny. And they've done this before. And why does she still have a job?
Well, she's separately elected in these counties. And but think about it. Some of these other supervisors that did it the right way are Democrats also. So every other county, Republican or Democrat, those supervisors did it the right way. These two didn't. They have violated the law. I've asked the Florida law enforcement to do an investigation, and we've already filed a lawsuit. We're going to make sure we win this. I won this election for the benefit of the people of this state. Their will is not going to be thwarted.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. It is obviously corrupt. Obviously, laws were broken. Obviously, there are shenanigans here. I believe you and Senator Rubio are 100% correct. We will follow this every single second of every day now because the people of Florida deserve their just vote, which they got. And you won this race hands down. And this is a disgrace that they get to do this election in, election out. Somebody needs to go to jail here if this keeps happening. You keep violating the law. You don't respond. Every other county responds. Then you change your numbers again and again and again. Something's not right. All right, Governor, thank you. Joining us now, the author of The Russia Hoax, #1 New York Times bestseller, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, and from the American Conservative Union, Chairman Matt Schlapp. We know a lot about Mark Elias, don't we, Greg Jarrett? Yeah. And we also know that there are laws in Florida. Every other county abided by them, except these two counties, which have a history of never abiding by them.
You know, the conduct of Brenda Snipes in Broward County is beginning to stink like a bucket of fish in the sun. I looked at the statutes in Florida. I looked at the governor's lawsuit. He is absolutely correct. She has broken the law multiple times, and it's only been 2 days. She was supposed to hand over vote totals. She hasn't. The number of ballots canvassed and to be canvassed, she hasn't. And then the most egregious is, under the law, the governor is allowed to make a written request to look at the public records of this. She refused to do that. So she has a long and distinguished history of violating the law. You know, a judge, as you pointed out in your monologue, had already found several months ago that she unlawfully destroyed ballots, and now the sudden discovery of 78,000 ballots. Is she creating ballots, whereas before she destroyed ballots? So I think the governor is right that this looks like an attempt, especially with Hillary's lawyers involved, to steal this election.
It is a disgrace. I've never heard of anything like this match slap. Just imagine for a second if Republicans ever tried to pull this off. Election after election after election. How come every other county got it right? Even the Panhandle, which was devastated 7 days earlier.
Well, because Republicans follow the rules, Sean. And you say this has never happened before. This seems particularly egregious, but this actually does happen. The more times they count these ballots, the narrower this is going to get. We've seen this when Norm Coleman ran for Senate in Minnesota with the big urban populations. We saw this when Dino Rossi ran for governor a couple times as a Republican in Washington. When John Thune first ran for the Senate. This actually happens more times than it gets coverage. And here's what I know after spending 36 days in the Florida recount in 2000. The more they count, the worse it's going to be for Rick Scott. He's doing the exact right thing. Ronald Romney at the RNC is doing the exact right thing. Take them to court. Shine a spotlight on this. The fact that they're counting these ballots, as Greg said, behind closed doors without having a Republican observer and a Democratic observer is completely against the spirit and the law, and this must stop or they'll steal another one. It is
impossible to just out of thin air go from 60,000 votes to 70,000 votes to 80,000 votes.
They've done it before.
Not without corruption.
That's right.
Mark Elliott, Perkins Coie, Fusion GPS, biggest corruption, abuse of power scandal. Geez, they picked